Hey, what is up, everyone? Murray NJ08, my photography podcast, Focus Recompose. This is for all my photography camera loving enthusiasts out there. What is going on, guys? Today is a special episode because we're going to be doing two things in this episode. We're going to be answering your questions. I wrote down some good viewer questions. And we're going to be talking about some of the gear that I recently acquired. If you've been following the channel, I did some recent pickup gear videos for camera gear. I call this camera season. And I do buy a lot of gear. I buy a lot of camera bodies. I buy a lot of glass, a lot of camera accessories, studio lighting equipment. And I picked up a couple camera bodies and lenses recently. And I got a lot more on the way, actually. Camera gear season is extended this year. I just spent another $5-6 the other night. So there's lots more coming on the channel. You'll be seeing a lot more camera gear, and I'll be talking a lot more on this podcast about it. So we'll be doing a lot of gear update videos, and we'll have a lot to talk about on this particular podcast. So I want to talk about my experience with the new gear. My experience shooting particularly the Nikon D800 with the rig I set up for it. I customized it with the Tamron 70-200 2.8 portrait lens that I'm absolutely loving. It's an FX lens, full frame. And the also full frame mirrorless Sony Alpha A7. I've absolutely been loving both. I've been shooting a lot outdoors. I've been doing indoor studio tests on both. I've been actually doing some hummingbird shots outside with the hummingbird feeder. And hopefully be getting out to the park soon and be doing some nature shots. And just running them through the courses that I usually do with the Nikon the camera bodies. Once I get them, I run them through the courses, test the ISO out, test the home SL lenses out with them, test the autofocus on them, the focus tracking on them, and I've been really happy with both cameras. I test a lot of cameras, so I have a lot to compare them to. Been absolutely happy with the image quality results in both cameras. I've been really happy with the image quality of the A7. Nice full frame mirrorless camera. Nice quality results on that. And I've been really happy with the image quality on the D800. Nice clean file. Big file. I'm shooting in RAW. 36 megapixel, big file, clean file, nice, sharp, clean file. I've been getting some great results with the 35 millimeter 1.8, the 50 millimeter 1.8, the 24-70, and the Tamron 70-200 2.8. I've been really happy with the results of that. I even tried some FX or some DX APS-C censored crop lenses on it with the crop mode. It's fine. Even crop down, you're still getting a decent file. And overall, I've been really happy with the camera, both cameras. The Sony, I am getting the adapters for the Canon lenses and the Nikon lenses, so I'll be able to adapt those lenses on the Sony. I had an A7 before that I was adapting Canon lenses on. And I know everybody was saying, oh, you're going to lose the ability to have the autofocus. Manual focus on the Sony mirrorless bodies is a dream. It's a cinch. It's painless. And a lot of sometimes those lenses I do manual focus anyway. So Manual focus with the A7 with those lenses is fine. I actually did a whole portrait shoot with a Canon 70-200 on a Sony A7 body, and it was fine. I had no problem manually focusing that lens with that body with the Metabones adapter. So, yeah, even though some of the higher adapters give you they say they give you the autofocus, but it's never truly, like a native lens would. But not a problem with the A7. And of course now Sony has a bit better lens lineup than they did when I first started shooting Sony cameras. They have a lot more aftermarket lenses, a lot more cheaper lenses, and a lot more variety of lenses now. So you have a bigger lens variety now than you did when they first started out. So that's good. So yeah, I've been absolutely having a blast playing with the new gear. I've been testing speed lights on them. I've been testing filters on them. Let's get to some questions here. Ryan from Indiana. What are some good portrait lens options? Love the channel and your awesome photography. Great, because we're right on topic talking about that. What are some good portrait lens options? Again, the 70-200 is my go-to when I'm in the studio doing portraits or even outdoors, because you have that nice telephoto focal range, that nice depth of field, especially with the 2.8. The Canon is an amazing, amazing portrait lens. Amazing 70-200. Of course, the Nikon, is phenomenal. But I've been loving the Tamron. 70-200 on my Nikon. Excellent, nice, sharp, tack sharp, nice depth of field. Beautiful on the skin. The 35mm is always great. And I would say the 50mm 1.8, the Nifty 50, the Fantastic Plastic, and the 85. The 85 is a fantastic lens. 35mm 1.8 is one of my favorite, especially on the Nikon. So you have some options there. Those are prime lenses. Mike L. from New York. What's your number one subject to shoot and why? I would say nature, because I just love nature and wildlife and animals. I always loved to shoot it. I love to do landscape also. I love to do cars because I'm obsessed with cars. But I always go back to doing nature throughout the year because I love doing walking and hiking, and the camera's with you, and at a moment's notice, you could always shoot something. There was a time where I actually did not like to do portraits at all, and I just learned more about portrait photography, and I got so into it. There was a time where I just despised doing portrait photography, and I got so obsessed with doing portrait photography that I actually built my own portrait studio and got into lighting, and you grow and you change, and that's just what happens. But nature photography always was with me and continues to grow. So I have to go with that. Sarah K., what's your opinion on lens adapters? I have a Sony mirrorless and wanted to adapt some Canon lenses. Just we're talking about that. Thanks. Love your channel and your work inspires me to shoot more. Well, thank you, Sarah. If you were listening, exactly what I was talking about, my opinion on them is that they're good overall. There's some that are better than others. Get used to manual focusing, but again, on the Sony, it's not a problem. I've never had a problem where I was like, oh, this lens adapter's terrible, or I can't really use this lens with this adapter on this Sony body. I've never had that problem. You may have to have some patience. You know, you're not going to be, clicking that shutter halfway down and having that, lens turn on its own. But for depending on what you're shooting, it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem. So I've had some luck with them. Tim Timson, what are some choices for a very first DSLR? Thanks. Oh, boy. Man. Well, you really didn't go into specifics on what side you want to go on. But, I mean, I'm guessing you want to stay on the cheap side. On the lower end. So, I would say, like, on the Canon, the Rebels, the Rebel TI. If you want to step up from that, you could get like a U7D. I still think that's one of the most amazingest cameras. Killer, indestructible body. Again, you want to move up from that, the 7D Mark II, which is an amazing camera. On the Nikon side, the D3300, the D3400, the D3500, that range. You want to step up a little bit from that. I would go with the D5600 or the D5500. Again, one of the most overall amazing cameras, all-purpose cameras. If you want to step a little bit up from that, the D7100 or D7200, hands down. So, depends on your price range. Depends on what kind of shooter you are. Depends on what you want to do. But I think you got a good basis there. Those are your pretty starter. That's going to give you a base to start from. Somewhere in there, I think you should find one of your cameras. Definitely. All right. There you go. That was the questions for this episode. Thank you. Those are actually really good questions. Questions that I would definitely ask. And those were good. And yeah, as far as new gear of what I've been using, definitely been loving my stuff. I've been really enjoying taking the Nikon D800 out. I've been loving this Sony A7. I'm actually going to be getting some fun cameras soon. Some cool mess around cameras. You got to stay tuned for that. I'll be maybe featuring them on the next podcast. I got some cool stuff coming. Some film cameras coming. Messing around with film. That's always fun. But yeah, some cool stuff. I've been doing a lot of, gear testing. I'm always trying to come up with different stuff. I'm always trying to mix and match. Seeing what works with what. I'm doing a lot of drone photography this time of year. I really get my drones going. I recently did a drone upgrade video on my Phantom 3, my DJI Phantom 3. What kind of accessories you could get to upgrade it. What are some cool drone accessories? Those are always ongoing. There's always crazy stuff coming out for drones. Drone photography is awesome. Doing aerial shots and video, and you can really have a lot of fun flying around. So I've been doing a lot of drone photography and doing some testing with the gear as far as that goes. But yeah, that's that. And I'm going to pretty much wrap this episode up of my Focus Recompose Photography Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the comments. Hopefully, thanks for the questions. Hopefully, we'll get some more questions in the next video for the next podcast. Take care, everybody. We got lots more gear coming, so I'll definitely be doing some more impressions and results of some upcoming gear and lenses. Again, take care, everyone. Hope to see you on the next video.